Karina, I've been meaning to ask you. Well, how much did you invest in that splendid house of yours, huh? The architecture, the gardens, it's all so grand. It must have been quite the sum, right? I've been admiring it from afar, and I can't help but wonder about its creation.
Oh, Martha, hello. That's quite a forward question to spring upon me, don't you think? It's not exactly polite to inquire about someone's finances so abruptly. But yes, if you must know, the house is a significant investment, one that took years of careful planning and saving.
Yes, well, I didn't mean to be impolite. It's just that, I've been considering my own living situation lately. And besides, it's not as if I'm asking about a stranger's house, right? We're practically family.
I'm not sure I follow, Martha. What exactly are you driving at? Your questions seem to have some aspects that I just can't grasp. Is there something on your mind you'd like to discuss?
It's simple, really. You have a magnificent home, one that anyone would be proud to live in. And Milton, God bless him, he's done well for the both of them, hasn't he? You have to wake up every day with gratitude for that luxury. I can't help but envy the life you've built.
Oh, it's a fine house indeed. Milton and I have put a lot of love into making it a home. But are you suggesting...
Speaking of which, I've been doing some thinking and I've decided that it's time for a change. I wanted to let you know that I'll be moving in with you and Milton next month. I hope you don't mind, but I could use the company and your home seems like the perfect place to find solace.
Moving in? Next month? Martha, that's unexpected. I mean, it's not like we don't want you here, but that's a decision that we should discuss as a family, don't you think?
Yes, the house is almost brand new, right? I remember walking through those luxurious hallways, the smell of fresh paint still lingering in the air. And I thought to myself, this is a house where one can grow old, a house where I can end my days in peace. But I did not foresee this development.
End of your day? Martha, that's a pretty sick thought to have attached to our home. And you can't decide to move in without discussing it with us first. This is the house that Martin and I have dreamed of for many years. It's not a decision to be taken lightly.
Oh, come now, Karina. You're taking me too literally. I don't plan on shuffling off this mortal coil the moment I step through the door. But the house, it's so beautiful, so perfect. It's the kind of place where I could see myself spending the rest of my days surrounded by my family. Surely you understand that sentiment.
But what about your own home, Martha? The one you shared with your late husband. There's so many memories there, so much history. Wouldn't you miss it? Seems like a drastic change to leave behind everything you've known.
That old thing? It served its purpose. I've already put it on the market, in fact. There's a buyer interested, and we're in the midst of negotiations. It's time for a fresh start, a chance to embrace new beginnings, you know? And what better place to do that than with family?
You're selling it? Just like that? Aren't you worried you might regret parting with such a sentimental piece of your past? Can't imagine the emotional toll that must take on you.
Regret? No, I don't think so. The house is old, Karina. It's full of memories, yes, but it's also full of problems. It needs work, a lot of work. I thought about passing it down to Carl and his wife, but they have their own lives to lead. It's easier to sell it to someone who can give it the care it needs. Besides, home is where the heart is, and my heart is with my family.
I suppose that's practical, but still feels a bit cold to talk about your family home as if it's just another transaction. Your memories, your history, it's all tied to that house.
Be that as it may, it's the reality of the situation. And it's why I'll be moving in with you and Milton. It's settled then. I'm sure we can make it work, Karina. After all, family is supposed to be there for each other through thick and thin.
Martha, this isn't something you can just decide unilaterally. Milton and I have discussed this. It's not a decision to be made lightly. We'll need to sit down and have a proper conversation about it before any plans are set in stone.
And of course, I'll need a comfortable space. I'll be taking the guest room, the one with the bay window and the lovely view of the garden, as my bedroom. It's important to feel at home, don't you think?
Martha, the only space we have available is the spare mattress in the living room. We weren't planning on having a permanent house guest. It's not exactly the most comfortable arrangement, but it's all we can offer at the moment.
Oh, no, that won't do at all. I'll be taking the master bedroom. It's only fitting, after all. I need my own space, Karina. You understand that, don't you?
Martha, please be reasonable. You can't just announce that you're moving into our house and claim the master bedroom. This is starting to become upsetting, and I have to say no. It's not fair to impose such a demand on us without any prior discussion.
But it's not really your decision to make, is it? Milton has already given me his blessing. He understands the importance of family. And besides, the master bedroom is the most suitable choice for me. I need privacy and comfort, especially considering the circumstances.
Milton said it was okay? Are you certain? I find it hard to believe that he would agree to something like that without consulting me first. We're partners, after all. We make decisions together.
Absolutely. He's always been a devoted son. He knows where his loyalties lie. I've had his approval for quite some time now. It's all arranged. He understands that it's my right as his mother-in-law to be provided for and accommodated.
Milton, the situation with your mother, it's quite a bombshell to drop. Is she truly intent on this plan? The idea of her moving in with us was such a huge change in our lives. I wasn't sure I was prepared for it.
Karina, I'm sorry. I had intended to discuss this matter with you in quiet of our home before any of this came to light. I can see the displeasure written all over your face, and it weighs heavily on me. Your feelings in this matter are of great importance to me, and I should have consulted with you before making any decision.
Dissatisfied is an understatement, Milton. How could you send such an invitation to her without saying a word to me? It's as if my opinion on the matter has no weight. The foundation of our partnership felt shaken by this unexpected revelation.
You haven't forgotten, have you? That painful day not long ago when she fell down the stairs, her body in extreme pain? It was that moment that shook me to the core. The fear of losing her. The fear of seeing her weakness exposed before me was shaking. I was just something I couldn't easily shake.
A moment, perhaps, exaggerating in the retelling. The doctor was clear. It was but a sprain. However, she uses it as a symbol of fragility, right? Her penchant for drama has always been a source of frustration for me.
Regardless of the severity, it was a stark reminder of her vulnerability. And it's that vulnerability that forces me to make sure she stays within my protective eye. Carl is overflowing with his children, so he can't give her the attention she needs. I couldn't bear the thought of her being lonely and needy.
And yet, in the midst of this all, she chooses to sell her house? It's a decision that seems odd with the image of strength she portrays.
The sale of the house is a triviality in the grand scheme. It is important that we provide shelter for her. Let's open our doors for her, and should the arrangement prove untenable, we'll navigate that bridge when we come to it. I vow to shoulder the responsibility so that it does not become yours to bear. Your comfort and happiness are the most important to me.
But Milton, this arrangement has already cast a shadow over our plans. We envisioned a fresh start, just the two of us, and now that vision is clouded with uncertainty. I'm struggling to find my footing in this sudden shift. It's left me reeling. Our dreams seem to be slipping away from us.
Hearing you upset is tough for me. I really wish things could be different, but as the oldest, I've got a lot to shoulder. Dad's passing left a big hole, and the quiet in Mom's house, it's just too much for her. It's not only about what I should do, it's about making sure she doesn't feel so alone. Above all, Karina, I want to build a life with you. A life where we're both happy and at peace. I want nothing more to build a future with you, Karina. One where we both find solace and fulfillment.
Milton, your kindness hasn't gone unnoticed. It's one of the many reasons I love you. but sometimes trying to do the right thing can put us in some tough spots. I won't block your mom for finding comfort, but we need to be conscious. Our relationship is precious. We need to protect it. Let's work through this together so it doesn't pull us apart.
Your understanding means everything to me. I promise to always consider your feelings as we figure this out. I am so grateful for your support. Let's stick together and face this as a team, with our love as our guide.
Karina, tell me, when do you plan to pack your bags and leave, huh? I can't stand having you around anymore. It's time for you to find somewhere else to live, you know?
Excuse me? I'm not sure I understand. You do know this is my house, right? The one at the foundation of all my dreams and memories.
Oh, I'm well aware. It's quite lovely indeed. But your presence here, it's like a stain on a perfect painting, rooting the whole ambiance for me. It's as if I can't breathe freely in my own home with you around.
Is that right? Ruining your experience? Is that supposed to be a joke? Because I'm not laughing. This is my home, Martha. My safe place.
This is no joke, Karina. I'm dead serious right now. I've been thinking about why this place doesn't feel like mine. And I realized it's because you're here, an unwanted guest. Someone who doesn't belong here, disrupting the peace I deserve. Oh my God.
What did you just say? An unwanted guest? I'm sorry, but you're sorely wrong. This house isn't yours, it's mine. I've worked tirelessly to create a haven for myself, and now you come in here and try and strip it away from me.
Anyways, I thought long and hard and realized that the reason it didn't feel like my house was because there was some outsider that I didn't want living here. It's time for you to leave, Karina. I cannot bear to share this space any longer.
An outsider? Is that how you're referring to yourself now? Because you have no real claim to this house?
Don't get smart with me, young woman. I'm clearly talking about you right now. That is why I want you to leave. It's time for you to go, to leave my house and never come back to this house. You're no longer welcome here.
You can't be serious right now. After everything I've poured into this home, you think you could just dismiss me like that?
Anyway, I already changed the locks on all the doors. Your key won't even work to get you inside the house anymore. Do you understand? I'm taking back control of what is rightfully mine.
You did what? You changed the locks? Without talking to me? That's outrageous.
Yes, the locks, Karina. Your key won't even work to get you inside the house anymore. Do you understand? It's time for you to face the facts and move on.
You have to be kidding me right now. In fact, this better be some kind of sick joke, or else I'm about to get really upset with you. This is not how you handle disagreements, Martha. You can't simply lock me out of my own home.
And just what do you think you have the right to be getting upset about? After all, the only reason that you're living in such a nice place is because my sweet little Milton pays for everything and that you live here. You would do best not to forget your real place in all of this, so don't even bother coming home. Do you understand me? It's Milton's name on the mortgage. So no matter how you look at it, you are the outsider here with no claim on this place.
All right, then go ahead and get out then. If you're so convinced you have the right to this house, then prove it. Leave and never return.
What do you mean by that? You can't possibly expect me to leave my own son's home.
I mean, that if anyone's the outsider here, it's most definitely you, Martha. You're the one who doesn't belong.
No, don't try and fight this. It is obviously you. This house belongs to Milton, and I am Milton's mother. You're the outsider.
Look, Martha, I don't know where you got your information from, but this house belongs to me. All the documents are in my name, do you understand? This house is legally mine, and morally.
What are you even talking about now? This is absurd.
Okay, let's start from the beginning. Do you know that Milton works under me at my company? You know that, don't you? I built it myself, and I don't appreciate your disrespect.
The company that you created? What are you talking about? Milton works for a living just like any responsible adult. He doesn't need your charity.
I'm pretty sure we already went over this 3 years ago when we got married. I honestly have no idea why you're acting like this is news to you. But anyways, this house belongs to me. And I want the outsider that's been living here out. I just want to be clear. I'm of course talking about you. So please get a grip and get out of my house.
You're a liar. You honestly think I'm going to believe any of this? You think you can fool me into thinking that you have your own company? I mean, you're just a woman. That's not a woman's job.
Martha, do you even hear yourself? Times have changed. Nobody thinks like that anymore. And I'll have you know that more than half of my staff are employed at my company, and they're women. I married Milton because I like the person he is. And I don't use my position to advance his career or prioritize him when it comes to work. I pay my workers fairly for their work, man or woman. And though you might hate to hear it, I make a lot more than Milton does. This house is a testament to my hard work and my success.
Wait a second. So then you really do own this house?
Yes. That's what I've been trying to explain to you. So you see how ridiculous it is for you to think you can barge in here and kick me out of my own home.
No. I promise it wasn't that. This whole thing is just one big misunderstanding. I never meant to cause you any distress, Karina. Let's sit down and talk this out like adults.
It isn't. In fact, this is the perfect chance for me to do something I've wanted to do for a long time. Now please leave my house. It's time for me to reclaim the peace and tranquility that has been disturbed by your presence.
Wait, Karina, hold on for just 1 second. Isn't this a bit much? I mean, we're family after all. Can't we find some common ground?
What's a bit much? Do you think you're the only one upset of having to share this house with an outsider? I mean, those are your own words, aren't they? Well, I've been upset about having to share my home with a certain outsider named Martha. And it's not just about you anymore. It's about reclaiming my sanctuary.
But Milton told me it was okay if I came to live here. And he would never let you kick me out. After all, his love for me is much bigger than it is for you. Surely he wouldn't allow this.
Actually, I was talking to Milton on the phone not that long ago. And yes, you're right. He was very upset. But not for the reasons you think. He's upset because he's finally realized the toll your presence is taking on our relationship.
See, I told you that you could never kick me out without losing him.
When you first moved here, Milton and I made the agreement that if there were problems that arose from you living here, that we would do what I thought was best for the situation. And after explaining to him about you, it seems your doting son has finally lost the patience that he once had for you. This isn't just about me, Martha. It's about what's best for Milton and me as well.
You're not saying what I think you're saying, are you? You can't possibly mean...
I'm afraid I am. It's time for you to face the consequences of your actions.
You can't honestly intend to just cast me out and leave me to fend for myself, can you? We're family, Karina. Surely you have some compassion left in you.
I think the phrase is you reap what you sow. You've made your choices, Martha. Now it's time to face the consequences.
What are you talking about? I don't understand how you could be so heartless.
I'm talking about the mess you've made in my home life for the past month. Honestly, you should be grateful that I haven't done this much sooner. But then again, you tried to run me out of my own home. To be honest, I was a bit surprised at first. I mean, it takes some serious nerve to try and kick someone out of their own home after you barge in.
Is that supposed to be a compliment? Because it's not coming across that way.
No, Martha. No, it is not. And to go so far as to change all the locks on a house that wasn't even yours? Well, I imagine it's probably too late to change them all back now, so I'll probably just have to replace them all again. But don't worry, you'll be getting a bill for it in the mail. You can't expect to vandalize our property and not face any consequences.
But I was going to ask Milton to pay for all the work I did to replace them in the first place. He owes me that much.
Oh man, you really are another kind of stupid, aren't you? I mean, you must really think that the world revolves around you, don't you? It's time for you to realize that your actions have consequences, Martha.
I'm not going to sit here and let you talk to me like this. I demand respect.
Well, the good news is you don't have to sit here and listen to anything. The only thing you have to do is get out of my house. Neither Milton nor I have any intention of letting you stay here any longer. It's time for you to accept the reality of the situation and move on.
But this is my home now. You can't just kick me out of the place where I live. I've grown accustomed to the space, to the familiar creaks of the floorboard and the warmth of the sunlight streaming through the windows.
No, it's not your home. And you're going back to your old place and you're moving in with Carl and his family. You may have taken temporary residence here, but this house belongs to me. Legally and morally, and it's time for you to accept that.
Are you crazy? They have 5 kids. I wouldn't even have a place to sleep if I moved back there now. Living in cramped quarters with a bustling family was never part of my retirement plans.
I guess it's better than being on the streets, though, isn't it? Sometimes we have to make sacrifices for the sake of our own well-being.
This isn't a game, Karina. And I refuse to play along. I won't go. I won't be cast aside like something of the past.
Well, then I guess it's a good thing I called around and found a good senior home for you. A place where you'll be taken care of, where you won't have to worry about the burdens of household chores or the stresses of living alone.
Excuse me? You did what? You have no right to make decisions about my life without consulting me first. I am still capable of making my own choices, thank you very much.
I mean, you're lucky to have me as a business owner as your daughter-in-law. I don't know many people that would pay to have their mother-in-law taken care of at a retirement home. If I were you, I'd be on my knees thanking me for what I'm doing for you. It's a gesture of goodwill, Martha, one that you seem to overlook by your stubbornness.
What are you even talking about? What is all this about a retirement home? I won't ever go and live in a place like that. I lose my freedom, my independence. I refuse to be institutionalized like some forgotten relic of the past.
Okay, then. You're more than welcome to try and move to some other place with your own savings, then. Because if you want my support, it's this or nothing. Especially after the way you forced your way into my new house and made a mess of all of it. I haven't had a peaceful moment to myself in this house since you moved in. I have half a mind to report you to the police for changing the locks, by the way. Moving out is probably your best choice right now, if I'm being honest.
Please, Karina, there is no need for that kind of talk. Can't we just make up and start all over? I realize that I may have been overstepping my bounds a little, and I'm sorry for that. I'm willing to compromise and find a solution that benefits us both.
We are so well past the point of you saying sorry and putting it behind us. Both Milton and I are completely out of patience with you. So enjoy your new life at the retirement home, Martha. It's time for you to face the consequences of your actions.
Please, you can't just leave me behind like this. I'll be so lonely there. Is this how you want to treat your family?
I don't want to hear it. Just a moment ago, you told me that you changed all the locks in my house so you can try and kick me out. I guess you'll just have to get used to your new life at the old folks' home. Enjoy your new life. Martha went so far as to change the locks and try and kick Karina out. But instead, she kicked herself out after finding out who really owned the house. It was a devastating blow to Martha's ego, realizing that her perceived authority over the household was merely an illusion. Even Milton lost his temper and flipped out at Martha for all her selfishness. The tension between mother and son reached a boiling point, with Milton unleashing years of pent-up frustration and resentment. The confrontation left their relationship fractured, with wounds that may never fully heal. Karina was true to her word and paid for Martha's moving expenses, but didn't tell her that Martha was being sent to a retirement home all the way across the country. It was a bitter pill for Martha to swallow, realizing her fate was being dictated by someone she considered beneath her. Martha can't stand her new life there and is trying to find a way to move out and bother her children again. The days at the retirement home stretched on endlessly, each moment filled with a longing for the life she once knew. I hear it's not going very well, though. Martha's desperation grows on with each passing day, her futile attempts at escape only serving to deepen her sense of hopelessness. The realization that she's truly alone in the world weighs heavily on her, a bitter reminder of the consequences of her actions. It's a stark lesson in the cost of pride and selfishness, one that Martha may never fully come to terms with.